Hi, this is Richard Carlton London, and you're listening to ClearTales.
Chapter 6, The Spreading Stain. Vincent's fingers ached as he squeezed another tube of cobalt blue onto his palette. The color spilled out like a vein of night sky, gooey and luminous under the weak lamplight. He mixed it with a dab of white. Outside, Paris slept beneath a blanket of fog, but inside Rue Lepic, Vincent painted with the fevered intensity of a man possessed, his brush attacking the canvas. "Slower, for Christ's sake," he muttered, trying to steady his hand. He had tentatively titled this painting Dusk over Montmartre before his first stroke, as was his habit. "Oh, what a dumb title," Ian said inside his head. "It sounds like a bad poem." "You were great, Vincent. Be great, brother." "It's not dumb. It is true." Vincent smiled faintly, laying another stroke across the twilight sky. "It is dusk over this place." "You know what? You're a difficult person to live with," Ian continued with some indifference. "I mean, really, look at this place." Vincent's brush hesitated. Despite himself, he looked around. "It's a disaster, Vincent. Canvases, unfinished, mind you, stacked against every wall, sketch pads, cluttered tables and chairs, paint pots balance on window ledges, just one stiff breeze from toppling. And the floor, wow, is that a Jackson Pollock?" "I suppose you're right," Vincent admitted, turning back to his canvas. "But I never really thought about it." "That's the problem." "What's the problem?" "You." "Me?" "Yes, you." "What?" "Not thinking." "I think plenty." "About what?" "About painting." The apartment door opened with a weary sigh. Theo stumbled in, nearly tripping over a discarded canvas. "Jesus Christ, Vincent." Theo's voice was tight but controlled. He hung his coat on a hook, only for it to slide off into a heap beneath sketches Vincent had tacked to the wall. He stared at it a moment, then shrugged, surrendering to the entropy of his home and his brother. "Could you at least straighten up?" "I have a friend coming by here soon," said Theo. "I'd like to make a good impression." Vincent lowered his arm mid-stroke and hesitated. Ian, sensing the approaching disaster, suggested, "Of course you will, Vincent. You social dope." A knock rattled the door. Theo smoothed his hair, adjusted his waistcoat, and hurried to answer. The door opened to a woman, elegant despite the late hour. Her dark hair arranged in a fashionable style beneath a simple hat. Her face was round, handsome, intelligent. Clear eyes swept the room without judgment. "Jo," Theo said, his voice suddenly formal. "Come in." "Come in." "May I present my brother, Vincent?" Jo passed through the doorway as Theo cleared his throat. "Vincent, this is Johanna Gesina Bonger." The introduction hung in the air, waiting to collapse on its own weight. "Mademoiselle," Vincent managed. She stepped inside, meeting his eyes. "Please, call me Jo," she said in their native tongue, smiling. "All my friends do." Vincent stared at her outstretched hand. Strong, capable, neat, unadorned, important. He took it reluctantly, his own paint-stained hand trembling, his grip as limp as a dead fish. He nodded curtly and blushed. "Theo has told me so much about your work," Jo continued, glancing around. "It is such a pleasure to finally meet you." Looking up from their joined hands, he meets her eyes and is startled by what he sees there. Not pity, not disgust, not the blank politeness he expects from Theo's acquaintances. Instead, Her eyes hold a kindness and curiosity, deep brown, wise like the woods. "The pleasure is mine," he muttered, releasing her hand. "Your brother has shown me several of your paintings at the gallery." She drifted toward the canvas, Montmartre beneath a swirling night sky. "The sky seems alive." "It is alive," Vincent said before he could stop himself. "Everything moves. Everything breathes. Most people just don't see it." Theo, hovering like a nervous usher, interjected. "Jo teaches English. She'd been helping with the gallery's correspondence." "Oh," Vincent said. "I enjoy translation," Jo replied. "Finding the right word, the right shade of meaning. It isn't unlike painting, I imagine, a constant search for precision to represent correctly." Vincent looked at her sharply. "Words are just words. Color is truth. Precision isn't the goal." "Perhaps," she conceded, "but both can reveal or conceal, depending on how they're used." Ian whispered, "Goodness, she's smart. I rather like her. Looks like our brother does, too." Theo set the table with bread, cheese, and wine. The simple act seemed majestic to Jo. "This looks lovely," she says, as if Theo has performed some extraordinary achievement rather than the dull act of arranging food on plates. "Don't encourage him," Vincent muttered, trying for humor but overshooting. "His head is big enough already." Theo's smile thinned, but Jo laughed, a genuine, diffusing sound. "Brothers," she sighed. "My brother Andre is the same. Always teasing, always testing." "Well, perhaps I might see more of your work while we eat," she suggested, gently redirecting them. She gestured toward a painting by the window. "The orchard in bloom. It's extraordinary." "It's not finished," Vincent said. "None of them ever are," Theo teased, warmth in his tone, for Jo more than Vincent. "If I didn't sneak them out of the apartment, he'd keep at them forever." "I understand. Editing text is the same. Always changing a word here, a word there. Nothing is ever truly done." Vincent's smile flickered. "I couldn't agree more." Later, after bread, wine, and easier spirits, Jo rose to leave. "Gentlemen, I've thoroughly enjoyed your company, and I'm so glad to have finally met you, Vincent." Vincent blinked. As she turned, her sleeve caught a jar of cobalt blue. It toppled, spilling across the floor in a vivid puddle that seeped between the boards. "Goodness!" Jo exclaimed, dropping to her knees. "I'm so sorry." Vincent stared at the spreading stain. Like a starless night was oozing across the floor. One of his most expensive paints, he thought. But wasn't it lovely? "It's fine," he says. Jo tries to contain the spill with a handkerchief. Theo is instantly at her side with a rag, their heads bent together over the mess. She's lucky it wasn't your yellow," Ian chuckled. "No need," Theo cut in quickly, flashing Vincent a warning look. "We have more." Vincent said nothing. They didn't have more. "That paint costs money which they don't have. Every tube is measured and rationed and precious." Instead, he says nothing, watching as Jo rises from the floor, her hands now stained like his own. "I should wash this off," she says, looking around for somewhere to clean her hands. Theo appeared with a towel and turpentine. Vincent remained at the table, staring at the permanent scar on the floor. Vincent was here. "I think we should continue the evening elsewhere," Theo said softly. "There's a cafe open on the corner." "That would be lovely," Jo agreed, cheeks flushed. She turned to Vincent. "Would you like to join us?" Her invitation was sincere, which made it worse. No, I have work to finish. Another time, perhaps, she said kindly. Perhaps, he echoed. He watched as Theo helped her with her coat, sharing private smiles as the door closed behind them. The apartment was suddenly quiet again. Vincent picked up a fresh brush